What's up, everybody? James Zheng here, Biblical Success Coach. I help entrepreneurs get unstuck, 10x results, and hustle less. And in this daily wisdom section, we're going to be going over some principles to shift your mindset so you can get the results you're looking for. And today we're going to talk about how you know if your paradigm is changing. So if that sounds like something interesting, like this, share this, also subscribe to our YouTube for this and everything else. I will promise you this, you stay connected to this, you're going to achieve some amazing results in your business, some amazing results in your life. So paradigm, to cover that again, what is a paradigm and why does it matter? A paradigm, and we covered this in previous conversations, is your set of subconsciously held beliefs about any area in your life. Primarily today, we're going to talk about your results though. We're going to talk about your business. We're going to talk about your income. We're going to talk about the things that you want to be able to grow. So no matter how much you want to will something to happen, if your paradigm, if your habits, if your subconscious mind is not actually programmed, is not actually, it is not set at the right point, you're never going to change your results. So how do you know though? Because when I first got started in this and understood about the power of the mind, I remember I'd start to visualize a lot more. And I put a 1 in the comments if you have a result in your mind that you really want to happen. Result in your business, result in relationships, result in your family. What's going on, Lisa? Great to see you. So I remember when I started to understand the power of goals and visualization and all these types of things, I got so excited. I started writing my stuff down. I started to close my eyes and imagine as if, and say, act as if you're already there. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And then the next question I had was, well, how do I know if it's happening? How does this all work? You would watch things like The Secret, and you might hear about things like law of attraction, which, to be honest, I don't believe in the law of attraction. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But I thought that it was, okay, I'm just going to imagine enough and things just happen. Things just happen. And then a week would go by, a month would go by, a year would go by. I'm like, wait, but nothing's really changing. How does this work? So how do you know if your paradigm's changing? And I want you to think about the thing that you really, really want. And I'd submit to you to 10x your results. That's a good goal, right? If you never even accept the thought of 10xing your income, your 10xing your results, hey, why not? It takes the same amount of energy to think a quote unquote a big thought than a small thought. So might as well think a big thought. Okay, how do you know if your paradigm's changing? Well, number one, obviously, if your results are changing, your paradigm's changing. The results are the name of the game. So let's say you're looking at your business. Let's say you're looking at your income. Are the metrics that lead you to more money, or is the money actually changing? Good morning. So personal example, we have an online business and we made a decision on promoting one major presentation. And in this, we get people to register so we can see if people are coming or not. We've done this for a month. And since the beginning, we said, we're going to have 100+ people register for this. That was just the goal. That was the paradigm. In the beginning, it literally went from like not even having something like this, or it wasn't even promoted, to actually being a promotional thing. And every week we've been seeing that grow, where yesterday we almost sold out of the tickets. Like, it was nuts. Good morning, So we saw, how do you know if your paradigm is changing? When your results have changed. That means that you've successfully done that. Okay, that's kind of obvious. But let's even backtrack. What leads the results? How do you know, in the meanwhile, as you're shifting your mindset, in the meanwhile, as you're adopting this new goal, in the meanwhile, as you're going towards this new direction, how do you know, let's say you're planting something, how do you know the seed is growing, right? How do you know when it's under the ground? Because the reality is there's going to be more work under the ground that you can't see at first than that's above ground. Have you ever gotten impatient about your result before? Put a 2 if you've ever gotten impatient. You're like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to come? When's the breakthrough going to happen, right? And we have to understand, like, it's important, because if you're a farmer and can you imagine? It's like more worrying and doubting and having anxiety in the process. Imagine you planted a seed, you're watering it, and you're a farmer, and every day you're like, I don't see it yet, but let me go dig it up again. Let me go see if it actually is working, right? Well, that's going to kill the seed. So how do you know if it's actually growing? Well, what leads to the results? Before that, are your actions changing? Your actions lead to your results. Now, this might seem super obvious, but the common sense things aren't so common. So let's say you're looking at your business, you're like, I want to make 10x more money. Well, what are the things that lead you to income? Probably generating more contacts, probably having more people take a look at your business, take a look at your product, probably having more follow-up conversations, right? These are the things that are going to eventually lead to more sales and lead to more income, right? So if your actions aren't changing that would lead to those metrics, meaning, okay, if I want to have more people, if you want to have more people take a look at your business, what are some of the actions you think need to change? Well, and comment below, what do you think are some things that need to change? I might need to prospect more people. If the amount of people that I'm not talking to about my business is changing, well, my paradigm's definitely not changing. Okay, this is where I don't believe in law of attraction. Law of attraction, some believe if I just will it enough and I believe it enough and I want it enough and I have enough faith, God's just going to deliver this result into my hand. No. All right. It's so funny because if you ever watch The Secret, it's a great movie. There obviously mindset matters, but one of the main guys in there, his name is John Assaraf, and John Assaraf is the person. If you watch The Secret, put a 3 in the chat if you watch The Secret. By the way, great movie. I think it's super good. John Assaraf is a guy that had a vision board, and he manifested. He was able to achieve his dream home. If you actually hear his other audios and you watch his other videos, he says, and yes, I help other people with their businesses for sure. He says that there's a law of attraction, but there's also a law of Goya. Goya. Do you know what the law of Goya is? Get off your ass. That was his words, right? I'm just quoting him. So yes, you have to have a good intention. Yes, you have to want and expect to win, but it must lead to action. Action is the miracle process. Jim Rohn calls it the activity, the miracle process. God can provide the seed, but he needs the sower to sow the seed. We have a part in this process, right? So if your actions, if you're not talking to more prospects, if you're not posting more on social media, if you're not marketing yourself more, if you're not getting more leads to take a look at what's going on, if you're not driving people to take a look at some type of presentation, guess what? That means that your paradigm is not changing. But if you do see that you are changing your actions that you were doing before, guess what? Your paradigm's starting to change. Because it means that you're changing your habits, you're changing your inputs. If you want to change your output, you change your input. You want to change your output, change your input. But even before actions, and here's the last thing. How do you know if your paradigm is changing? At the end, results change. So definitely track yourself. Number 2, actions change that you know will lead to the results. There's a law of sowing and reaping, right? There's a season between sowing and reaping. So just know there's a time. All right, God knows the perfect time, but there's a time. But the third thing is this. Even before your actions change and your results change, one other major thing changes, and that's your emotions, your feelings. You see, how do you know if your paradigm is changing? Your subconscious communicates with emotion. So what kinds of emotions are changing for you? What should be happening? Let's say before you felt stuck. You should start feeling expectation. Let's say before you felt like you were tired all the time. You should start feeling excited. Let's say before you're feeling depressed. Now you're starting to feel hope again. Right? You're starting to change these emotions because what leads to your actions and what leads the results is when you change and you shift your paradigm. You change your thoughts, you change your goal, you elevate it to another level. You say, I'm going to 10x my income, I'm going to 10x my business. And you start to believe that it's even possible. So you get excited, right? The power of the future is an awesome force. I'm glad that it's hitting. I know. So overwhelmed, my friend said, sometimes a person feels so overwhelmed with all the skills that one needs to learn and things to do to make things happen. Any advice? Absolutely. Overwhelm means you're on the right track because you're starting to learn a bunch. You're starting to grow. You're starting to feel like, oh, I need it. That's changing the action, sister. That means that you're moving into the right direction. But if you feel frustrated because you want to grow faster, if you feel overwhelmed because you're trying to learn so much, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm pulling my hair out a little bit, it actually means you're growing. Good job. It's like in the gym. Shouldn't it feel a little uncomfortable if you're growing in the gym? You have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, but the emotions change. Maybe you get excited. Maybe you get frustrated a little bit. You're like, oh, I'm better than this. I had a teammate just yesterday. We're promoting this event, this presentation, and we were talking. We're like, hey, let's take a look at the numbers and everything. You're welcome. Let's take a look at the numbers. I'm like, yo, man, like, that ain't good. You're not on track. You know what happened? This person had a little bit of frustration. He's like, nah, not today, because this person set a goal. This person set an intention. And what was crazy is within half a day, guys, a decision. It started with the frustration. It started with an emotion. Within half a day, this person doubled their results in half a day. Why? Because the emotions changed. Sometimes it's a frustration. Sometimes it's like, I'm better than this. Come on, let's go. That's when you know your paradigm is changing. When you start to get different emotions. When the things that you know you should be doing, you're like, it's time to do it. When you start getting excited, and then that changes your actions. You start saying, I'm going to get up a little bit earlier. I'm going to change my schedule a little bit around. I'm going to change the way that I show up. I'm going to change the way I talk. I need to learn this skill. I need to do this thing. And that will ultimately lead to more results. And results are the name of the game. That's where you know that your paradigm is. So how do you know if your paradigm is changing? Are your results changing? Are your actions changing? Are your emotions changing? If so, you're on route to your quantum leap. Hope this encourages you. If you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube, please do that. We put this and all of our other stuff like this on there as well. I would actually love your comments and your subscription on the YouTube. We're trying to get that out there. And I'd love to hear feedback from you. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, I actually would like to know what impacted you so we can grow together. And I actually like to have this back and forth conversation and everything. If this empowered you, share this, like this, do all that type of stuff as well too. And if you would like a free video on things that can help you to start to 10x your results, I would love to gift that to you. Comment success, the word success, comment success on either my Facebook or YouTube. If you're on my other channels, just private message me that. And I'd love to give you that video. It'll change the game for you. But commit to this daily wisdom time. And I promise you, we're going to go through some amazing shifts together. All right, everybody, let's crush the day. Let's shift and let's change the world. All right, talk soon. Bye, everybody.